7 sizzling sausages. Cool. Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector.
How you doing, Hector?
Good. How you doing, Ben?
Yeah, I'm good. I dyed my hair purple. It might be a midlife crisis. I'm not sure.
I'm guessing it is a midlife crisis. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm just going with it.
But it's awesome, man. It's awesome.
I noticed you got an Atari T-shirt on. Did you ever have one when you were younger?
Yeah, man. I had a lot of Atari T-shirts, and I had a lot of Ataris to go with the T-shirts.
Yeah, man.
I actually had not long ago, just a few years ago, I came across an old Atari 2600 and a whole bunch of games at like a whatever it was, Goodwill or whatever.
Right.
And I had it. I plugged it in. I used it for a little bit. As things happen in life, I got busy doing something else, so I didn't really use it. And somewhere along the way, my wife thought that, like, oh, well, he's not using it. And so she threw it out. She didn't even give it away. She threw it out. And I'm like, do you realize what you've done? This is like a vintage Atari 2600.
Nerds everywhere are sobbing.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. It was painful.
I used to use an Atari ST with this program called Notator on it. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah, that was my first beats when I was like, I want to say 14, 15.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I had this weird tune that went, juk, 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 recharge me, like that. It doesn't matter.
Excellent.
So anyway, we're here with Billy and Ellen from the Leafy Greens Band. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How's it going?
Great, man. Happy to be here.
Yes, very happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
You guys are on episode 5. We're halfway to double digits. I'm pretty
Hey,
happy about that.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
You guys
man.
are killing
I'm pretty
it.
happy about that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So you guys, I noticed because we play a lot of the same venues, over the course of the last couple of years, hear more and more about you and, people talking about you until all of a sudden it seems like every venue I play, you also play at and more. So, could you tell us, we're just going to go right back to the beginning of both of you guys' experience with music. I want to take you one at a time for this first question. Why did you start playing music?
Man, playing music actually was 2 years ago when Billy and I started. Before that, I was in chorus in middle school and high school, but otherwise I never played an instrument. I'd taken piano lessons when I was 6 before, but then nothing really from there.
Right.
And then chorus, like I said.
Right.
And then when Billy and I decided to quit our regular jobs and pursue music full time, then I picked up the tambourine and that was an interesting transition to try and figure that out.
Is there a learning curve with that?
Yeah.
It almost ended us. It still almost does sometimes.
It is not actually an easy instrument to play, but it's a lot of fun, and I love playing it now. It's a blast, and I don't know. I like being able to play an instrument too, along with singing. So it's been a lot of fun, and so learning curve. Going back to we have one of the first videos of the first gig that we did, and the only thing that you can hear in that video is the shaker and the tambourine.
Not on beat.
Not on beat. It was
Just like this.
So flapping.
Just kind of everywhere.
Flappy hands.
So I was so nervous. I'd never performed live like that before. So, it was just, and I had debilitating stage fright. So, but 2 years in and we are, still working out some kinks here and there, but it's a repetition and just practice and gets better. So
I've been performing 30 years and I still don't look people in the eye when I play. So if I look out in the crowd and somebody looks in my general direction and it looks like they're talking to somebody else, I'm like, oh man, crap, I messed something up, and they're talking about me. It's all about me. I screwed something up for sure.
That's the worst, man. That's the worst. When you look out and maybe you hit a sour note or something like that, and you look out and somebody goes like this.
It has nothing to do with you. But
you know what, dude? I hate you. Whatever.
Right. It has nothing to do with you. But they're like,
I think at this point, all of those edges have been knocked off me. I could care less what people think at this point.
I know, right?
Been doing it for so long.
I know. We're working on getting there.
Yeah. Kudos.
Kudos.
So I was gonna pose you the same question. Why did you start playing music?
So I was born and raised in Alaska, and on the Kenai Peninsula, close to Anchorage, and my dad was laid off from he was working in the oil industry out on the platform. He got laid off from the oil industry, and they gave him like a $25,000 severance package or something like that.
Okay.
And he took every cent of that, and he bought me and my brothers instruments, and we were about 10 or 11 years old.
There's a country song in there somewhere.
I know, right? Well, I'll tell you, it turns into a Michael Jackson song or a Michael Jackson situation. But
Okay.
but it was me and 3 other brothers, and we were all 11, 12 years old, and my dad's, and he bought me a guitar, my other brother a guitar, bass, and drums.
Right.
And he's like, okay, we've got a. He set a date for our first gig, which was going to be a talent show or a talent competition, I guess.
Huh.
And the first song, we had 2 songs that we could play. One was "Sunshine of Your Love" by Cream,
Yeah.
and the other one was "White Room" by Cream.
Yeah.
And so "Sunshine of Your Love" was the first song that we learned, and the way we learned it had to be note for note for
Right.
note. It had to be
Oh,
exactly
wow.
how it sounded. So same pitch, same key. Same
They didn't learn it
tempo,
in E like
everything.
everyone else
oh,
does at
no,
the
man.
beginning.
I mean, it's in D.
Right.
And I was the lead guitar player, and so I had to learn that solo note for note, and it took me 3 months. And I was about 12 years old, and I have small hands now, but at 12 years old they were smaller.
Sure.
and
And you had never played a guitar before? Like,
No.
Like these were all this is all brand new to all of you guys.
brand new, yeah.
This is
yeah,
unbelievable.
that's
This
right.
is incredible.
Yeah,
That's an awesome story.
but it took me 3 months to learn that solo note for note, and finally I taught myself tablature, so I was reading off the the tablature. This is back in like 94, 95, and so I have a book. That's what I'm learning off of, and I finally get it. I go get my dad. I'm like, hey, I finally got the song. Let me show you. He said, okay, I'll follow you out to the garage and see see how you do it, and. So I ended up playing it note for note. He said, "Okay, now come get me when you can do it with your eyes closed, because you
Oh,
can't
wow.
be reading off the book when we do the talent show."
This is
I was
by
like, are
far
you
and
kidding
away
me
the
right
most
now, dude?
interesting answer to this question we've got so far.
This is the start. And I was like, "This is impossible." I was crying. I was 12 years old. I wanted to be hanging out with my friends, and plus this was in Alaska, and this was January in Alaska, so it was cold in the garage too. So I'm out there playing,
Frozen
and
fingers.
really with in the middle of winter,
Yeah.
and but it took me a week. And I learned it note for note with my eyes closed. And after that, White Room was easy, and then it was like Purple Haze, Cold Shot, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
So you just
know,
learned the
like-
songs and not did you learn any scales or anything like that?
I was learning scales as I was learning the song. So there was
Okay.
a book that I remember, Wolf Marshall's Basics 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
and the Power Studies 1, 2, and 3. And then Blues You Can Use, which I think was a Hal Leonard book, and that was the basis of I was learning, timing, what notes are, what a whole note is, what a half note is, what a quarter note is, all that stuff, and and just scales and modes and stuff like that. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, like
Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's
No, that's kind of a long answer, but
No,
that's
it's-
how
that
it
was-
started.
that was a
It's
fantastic
great.
answer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
who chose Cream? Is your dad a big Cream fan?
Yeah, he is a huge Eric Clapton fan.
Right.
But
I guess who isn't, but it's
Yeah.
a great place to start.
yeah, it was a great place to start, man. I mean, and the song is such a classic song, and overall pretty simple
Yeah.
until you get to that solo that he does on that when he's mixing a lot of these minor and major scales,
Yeah.
Ionian and
Yeah,
Aeolian and stuff like that. It's a really interesting solo on that, and that was really the most difficult part about the song. But overall, pretty easy and doable. I mean, after that, man, we named our band Badge, so
Okay.
we were a family band, and we kind of toured all over the Central Peninsula of Alaska.
Interesting.
And we opened up for like Blue Oyster Cult at like
Really?
14, 15 years old. Yeah, man, in Kasilof, Alaska. We had a good run. But so I've been playing music live since then, since about 11. I'm 38
Do your
now.
brothers all still play now, or
No, not really. No,
just you?
just me. Yeah, but I gave it up for 15 years too. I stopped playing at 21, and I went down a different route, and just because I knew that there wasn't any future in music, I didn't think I could make money in it.
Yeah.
But then after 15 years in the corporate world, you kind of learn how to make money. You kind of
Yeah.
learn how to turn a business into a business,
Sure.
and I just we took some of those principles that we learned running our own businesses, and applied them to this, and were able to achieve
I think it's important to have life experience too.
Yeah.
If you did nothing but play in a band since you were 11 years old, you wouldn't have a huge amount to write about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Right.
I really think I think about that a lot. that it's kind of a joke among some of my friends where it's like songs that are about being in a band or songs that are about songs, just good because there's like the creativity
else, nothing else to
there.
pull from.
Yeah. Well, what were your outside of Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix? What were you listening to in those early years? What informed your sort of taste?
I mean, it was everything that was on that my dad had on vinyl.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of Jimi Hendrix, a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan, a lot of Eric Clapton. Those were the top three that I was really into. And then, Rory Gallagher was sneaking in there. Just old classic. Jorma Kaukonen from Jefferson Airplane. He was, he kind of turned me on to finger picking.
Yeah. Is that Hot Tuna? He's in them.
And
right?
Hot Tuna as well. Yeah, he was in Hot Tuna. That's right.
Yeah, they're awesome. Man's Fate. I teach that song. I really love that song, Man's Fate.
Okay,
yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, but just classic, meat and potato type of players, man.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, my taste changed. It's not so much Jimmy, Stevie, and Eric now as it is like, Jason Isbell, great songwriters as well as great musicians.
And that's it. I only really kind of got turned on to Jason Isbell not that long ago, like a year ago. Yeah. I've been checking it out. He's definitely a very good songwriter.
He's amazing, man. Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah,
absolutely. So this is a fun question, and I know that you must have done recently, and you kind of already answered it. But do you guys practice? How much do you guys practice, and what do you practice?
It's funny. We were just talking about that right before we got here.
There's no wrong answer.
There's no wrong answer.
What about you, Ellen?
Honestly, a lot of practice recently has been, at shows tremendously, like just kind of like going from never performing like this ever. Just having the reps under my belt, like to be a performer and just get better that way, especially with the stage fright that I had. Like it was awful. Right. And so, that's helped tremendously. I listen to music all the time, so I'm constantly like, there's so what we like to do when we're performing, and I shouldn't consider this practice. This is not an actual practice. Yeah. But with songs,
I know what you mean, though. We all do it. We all
with
do
songs
it.
we've never done, and like people request them, I'm like, I can kind of hear it in my head. Let's try it out. And then if it sounds okay on that, then we'll take it home and we'll go through it and like really break it down and practice it from there. But and there's certain songs here and there that especially if we got like weddings and stuff coming up, we got to like nail down the songs. So we'll practice those at home for sure. Yeah,
you always know when it's one of those gigs where you can stretch out a bit and just try stuff. If everyone's kind of in a good mood and the vibes right, you can you can absolutely do that. Or on the flip side, if there's literally no one there.
Yes, exactly. That's usually when we're like, hey, there's barely anybody here. Anybody got anything you want to throw at us? See if we can figure it out. Yeah. So
that's fun.
Yeah.
I think early on, for me, those were some of the toughest gigs because, you're sort of battling with your own sense of self-worth. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're like with like 2 or 3 people in there. But, at this point, I'm sort of over that. But what about in terms of just literal instrumental practice? Do you practice the guitar?
Yeah, every day.
Yeah,
every day.
Okay,
every day, and not just guitar, vocals as well.
Right.
I feel, and this is just my personal opinion, that my vocals are kind of like the weakest part of our sound because I'm not a natural singer, so I've had to teach myself the proper body mechanics.
Okay.
So vocal practice every single day is like mandatory. I have to do the breath work exercises, scales, all that stuff, and doing that every day has done wonders for my singing.
That's impressive, though. That's impressive because a lot of, so far everybody that's come through here says the same thing about, we're gigging so much, we just don't have any time to practice, and it's
no, we don't have another job. So this is, to me, I came from a weird background and lost a lot at a very young age. So I'm very fearful of regressing and failure. So so when I take something on, I become hyper focused, and no matter like we were talking about earlier, having carpal tunnel, I don't care how bad my hand's hurting. If there's a song that I'm moved to learn or or if there's something that I know that I need to clean up as far as my playing goes, I'm going to practice, and I'm going to, and I do. Guitar, I practice every single day, but vocals is another one on top of that. Yeah. I have to. I mean, this is what we do, and if this is the career path that we've chosen,
dedication.
I think you can find it. For me, it's become again, like I stopped drinking and stuff about a year and a half ago, and for me, it's become something that I've started to enjoy it again.
Yeah,
I didn't practice for years. I just played.
Right.
And I was getting jaded, actually. And I found that actually by practicing, it's made me less jaded because you feel like there's a progression. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a certain point of, there's a certain level of it which is just maintaining the level you're at.
Yeah.
But also, it's pushing into other areas. And
Yeah.
I had no idea about this, how you ended up getting into music. You said you lost it a lot at a young age. Is that something you are willing to talk about? What do you mean by that?
I had a tough upbringing, and just kind of left me without normal traditional parents and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I got married at 18 years old, and I had 2 kids by the time I was 20.
Anyway.
And moved to Nashville, Tennessee at 21 years old from Alaska.
Right.
And then I got a divorce at 26. So there was a lot that happened in the course of 10 years for me.
Yeah.
And so that divorce kind of sent me down like a little bit of a darker path that caused me to lose everything. Right. And then I picked myself back up, started a company, kind of just got myself, redialed in.
Yeah.
And then got back on my feet and have been able to, dig myself out of a hole. And with all that experience came a lot of wisdom and a lot of discipline and
absolutely.
And a work ethic that is like, we're pursuing this together, obviously, because we're engaged, we're a couple, we're pursuing this together. But I take every day as if somebody's going to be trying to take this away from us at any time. So it's like we have to get better, and we can, and as long as we do get better, we'll continue to get gigs.
Yeah.
And if we do continue to get better and we develop our catalog and focus on personal and professional progression, then we will never be without, And again, it's kind of a little bit of that fear that drives me, and it is different. We come from different backgrounds, so it's tough. I'm hyper focused and type A.
Right.
And Ellen's a little more laid back. She was raised here in Florida.
Right.
So
we are very opposite, but
I've been through a lot, and she has too. It's just but it's a really fine balance, and we found the right partner to pursue this with, because it's like it's a total yin and yang,
And I mean, you guys were talking about keeping each other in check, and I think we do the same for one another on both ends. Like with me being one way and Billy being another, and it just kind of like it comes to that middle ground where like, okay, we'll work it out and it's fine. Yeah. So
do you feel like, I mean, you guys work together and all of your home life is together? Because can that be a bit of a challenge sometimes?
I think it can be just as much of a challenge, probably a little less of a challenge than if you were working separate jobs. I mean, we did that for 5 years, where she was a hairstylist and I was working in the fitness industry, and we still had our challenges during that time. We probably had more, honestly.
Yeah.
And now our challenges are I mean, it has to do with what we're doing, with our profession, and sometimes our differences kind of we always end up coming out stronger every time. We have our disagreements, we fight. Man, we were bickering earlier today.
I imagine.
And,
I mean, it happens.
and we were actually bickering about practice and stuff like that, and it's just, but it's cool because she grounds me. I know I
elevate,
push her, and it just brings us both to center. It's not always perfect, but man, we've been together for 7 years. We haven't broken up once. I've never left, so the chemistry, I feel very fortunate to have found somebody that I have really, really amazing chemistry with, and loves me for exactly who I am, and it's the same thing with her.
Yep. I'm
Yeah.
the
I'm with
exact
my wife
same
for
way.
24
Yeah.
years, and I'm
Yeah.
leaving her tonight. No. Honey, if you're listening, I'm kidding.
What a scoop.
Just kidding. I imagine that, like you were mentioning, when you guys had other jobs, that it was more of a challenge. And I imagine like there's certain, I want to say baggage, but there is certain baggage with having an outside job that you bring home. And I don't care what that job is.
yeah,
There's
man.
something, you always bring home some of that negativity with you from the
Absolutely.
outside job. It happens to all of us.
Yep.
And just not having that outside influence on the relationship and on the music and and everything. I mean, that's got to be huge.
It was
Yeah.
tough, man. I mean, I was in the fitness industry, so and I ran a kind of a large company, so and I had a lot of employees, and it was a lot of stress, man. Numbers that you got to hit, and it was a lot of stress, and I couldn't really, I would come home frustrated, stressed out, and you can't really, she doesn't really understand that, and it was vice versa with her as a hairstylist,
Yeah.
and now we can share our stresses together,
Yeah.
and then come up with solutions on the
Right.
spot.
Yeah, that's exactly
You
what I
know?
was going to say. It was
Yeah.
like, we know each other's frustrations. Like, you mean, like, even just during gigs, we were able to talk about it at the end and be like, okay, like, what happened here, 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 and we're on the same page because we were both there for it. So, I mean,
Right,
like,
yeah.
we know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that helps
After a show,
tremendously.
we ride home. We listen to some music. We put on some like Billie Holiday or something like that. Which, by the way, the Kill Billies album has not left our car
Oh,
since
yeah.
it's been in there, dude. Every time we hit media, it's like Kill Billies. I'm like, we're trying to go to Pandora, but that's okay. Let's hear something. So
It takes over. We set
I
it
know
up
it's
that
the
way.
only CD that's been in our car, man.
It's invasive.
But we'll turn on some music, something kind of relaxing, and then and we dissect the show. We go over the good stuff. We go over the stuff that we maybe some mistakes that were made, whatever. And we talk shit about whatever was stressing us out. The drunk
Yeah.
the drunk person spilling into our microphones and almost knocking our teeth out.
Yep. That happens often.
Right?
Yeah.
I now have crowns on here, but I broke my teeth on the
man.
microphone.
I'm real
Dude,
nervous
Mandy
about that
Moore
one
had,
day.
had two teeth knocked
Yeah.
out from a microphone, man. But I bet her teeth were veneers. I don't know. I got the real thing.
I gotta say though, like I love, like I absolutely love the fact that you guys, like you're together, and you're, and then you're doing the music thing, or whatever. Because like you brought up a couple of points that sometimes it's nice for us, but sometimes it's frustrating. Like the fact that you guys finish a gig, you pack up, you load up the car, and you drive off together.
Yeah.
So you have that time together in the
Right.
car. You're talking about that and whatever, and then the fact that you're together at home. You're saying you practice every day.
Yeah.
And this is what you guys do. Like this
Yeah.
is it. This is your job.
Yeah.
So you guys, if there's new songs you want to try out or whatever, it's pretty much any time of day.
Yep.
You guys find a
Right.
couple minutes and you sit down and you
Absolutely.
work it out.
Yeah, that's great.
With the three of
I
us,
envy
like
that for
we
sure.
try to
Yeah.
do stuff
Yeah.
like that, as much as we can. But with us three of us having, separate lives and separate wives and
Right.
separate, jobs and separate everything else,
Right.
it becomes an issue and it becomes a problem trying to find that time to get together and actually spend that time practicing and doing our thing.
Yeah.
Like it just becomes more difficult. And
tough,
the few
man.
gigs, that we have a few gigs that are farther, like Fort Pierce and stuff, and so we'll cram everything into my Armada. He's got gear like all stacked on him on the back seat. And we all ride together to those further gigs, and I gotta say, like those are I
best.
love those the most
Yeah.
because
The
on the
best.
drive
The
back
best.
and on the drive there,
Yeah.
we're just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
We're talking about the gig. We're talking about the
Yeah.
next gig. Hey,
Yeah.
when can we practice? Whatever. I mean, we accomplish so much, verbally in that time span of that hour drive or whatever. Then
When it's good, you can't beat that band van camaraderie.
man. That's
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah,
It is
exactly.
the best. I
Yeah.
mean, that's and especially when you're with, I was in a bunch of bands, after 16 up until about 21,
Yeah.
in Alaska, and man, those road trips, man, when you're with the boys, and
Yeah.
it just gets nasty sometimes. I don't miss that part, but that was a good time. I mean, I think most of our stuff is pretty local at this point, but
Right.
we're about to take a trip up to Nashville and gig up in Nashville,
That's
and
cool.
in May, and so I think
How have you planned that? What's the how are you going to just go and try and get some gigs? Or
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
that's
it.
awesome.
That's all.
awesome.
I'm just gonna try to get some
Guitar on
we
your
took,
back.
Yeah, we took two.
Yeah.
We took 2 weeks off in May because we've just had a really, really busy year so far, and
We're fortunate to be able to take the time
yeah,
off. So,
exactly.
yeah.
We've been So we're gonna take 2 weeks We're gonna drive up to Tampa, try to get some gigs in Tampa. We're gonna try to get some gigs in Nashville, even whether they're paid or not.
I wonder what the situation with Nashville is in the moment in terms of COVID.
Well, we played there in July at the Sutler Saloon,
right.
and everything was half capacity, and it was just acoustic acts. It's probably the only reason why we were able to play there is because we were, as a duo, you're the biggest band in the world at that point in July of 2020. And nothing could ever be as big as a duo. That's all anybody was allowing to play. So
me and James got real good at it.
I know. You guys are tied on that snare and bass, man. Oh man, but yeah, 50%. They were, and I think they're at like 75% now.
Okay.
But still, dude, you got businesses closing left and right up there. Old music venues that have been there for decades and decades are closing.
It's heartbreaking.
It's tough, man. the mayor up there, he raised the taxes by like 34%, the property tax by 34% during in about, I want to say June of 2020.
Why is that?
Why? Because he's an asshole.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
why would you do that? Property tax by 34% in the middle of a pandemic. Bad. That mayor is just bad business, man. But it's everyone's hurting, man. The whole it sucks. We've been fortunate because we just kind of landed into a niche-y spot during a really tough time.
Also, for better or worse, Florida being one of the places where live music was still ticking over. Me on my own and James and I, also we never. Apart from maybe like a month or so, didn't really ever stop. There was a little period,
right?
6 weeks, 2 months, or something.
That's how it was for us.
Yeah.
We get people I've had a few shows now that we've done where somebody will come up to us after the show and go. It just happened to us at Bradley's. Here at Bradley's the other day. Somebody comes up to us in between sets or at the end of the show and says, "Oh, I just got to tell you, I'm from New York or I'm from wherever, some other state." And they're like, "And we were down here for a few weeks to take a break and
haven't heard music in a year."
Yeah, this is the first time I've heard live music in a year. And it's like it's this reality sets in that because honestly, like you said, for better or for worse, I feel like Florida really hasn't missed a beat, we shut down for a few months and then we kind of opened up a little bit half capacity or whatever, but it's been kicking for a long time now where it doesn't, other than wearing a mask in places, it doesn't really feel like we're in the middle of anything right now.
I've been hitting that. I've been kind of hitting it wear the mask, wash the hands, don't kind of, and also because I'm not drinking anymore, I don't even really go near the bar. You know, like it's in and out like a bank job kind of thing. You know,
in and out like a bank job.
Yeah,
that's funny.
We're like the rowdiest band now. We're like waters and Diet Cokes, please.
Well, I'll tell you, man. I think there's Double Roads. I don't know if Double Roads is a casualty of COVID, but I feel like it is.
I don't think it helped.
I don't think it helped either.
Yeah, I don't think it's the main reason, but I don't think it helped. He has other things going on and stuff that he wants to do. So
and there's I know some businesses that went out of business because of COVID around there. So Florida didn't go unscathed, but we were definitely luckier than the rest of the country for sure, man.
I can't believe propaganda managed to hold on. That was just unbelievable.
I know.
I'm very good friends. I'm in a band with Matt who runs the place, and he was on such thin ice for a long time. Still kind of is really, but he's managed to keep it open, which is incredible.
Yeah.
That's sort of the next question I have is, and you were kind of leading that way with talking about Nashville. Is what are your future plans?
You want to answer that?
Go ahead.
We're not pursuing a label or anything like that. Our future plans is to build a catalog, get into bigger venues, continue to gig, try to, obtain licensing opportunities,
right?
Really focus on merchandise sales, branding, stuff like that, but just try to stay as independent and work and try to get into a festival circuit, try to open up for bigger bands.
Sounds like our future plans.
Basic band stuff, I guess.
Domination.
World domination. But
In a sense.
But it all starts with the catalog. Right now we're producing an album. We only have we just started our 9th song on the album.
Did I see a picture of you guys at Echo Beach? Were you there? Or
No.
was it somewhere else?
No.
Okay, I saw a picture with
No.
the headphones on the studio, and I thought it looked like it was Echo Beach. It wasn't.
Oh, that's cool that it
That
looked
is
like that
cool.
because
Yeah.
that's in the room of our friend's house.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Randy Wallen. Shout out to Randy. We love that guy.
We do
he's
love
our
that guy.
he's our engineer and producer.
Yes,
Oh,
he's
that's
awesome.
cool.
And this guy's amazing. His family's amazing. His wife's amazing. His kids are amazing. And we get with him every Monday and Tuesday between 6:30 and 9.
Yeah.
And we're in a bedroom in his house, and he's and he just, his kids have to be completely quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
And we do everything acoustically right into the microphone that he has, and he's been helping us produce this album. So we do it 2 days a week, and we've been working with him since October.
Yeah.
Great.
So 2 days a week, hour or 2.5 hours per day.
As long
And
as
we
it's
have-
not raining.
Yeah.
Are you writing while you're recording it? Or
Yep.
Yeah, you are.
Yep.
Right. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I know. Yeah, I mean, we had no catalog before COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I realized, man, I was like, dude, if we're gonna do anything with this, we have to transition from cover band to singer-songwriter at some
Yeah.
point. We have to transition.
It's possible to be both.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
And it was something that I was going to ask you actually. Was have you found that needing to know this many covers and playing this many covers, do you ever find it feels like it stifles your creativity?
Oh no.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
That's interesting, and and that's awesome. I think, in the past, the reason I ask that is because in the past I have felt a little bit like that myself.
Yeah.
Because there's only so many hours in the day, and if you're learning to play covers, you're not learning your own writing original material. But
Right.
I think at this point, now I'm a little bit more focused. It doesn't. If anything, it informs the stuff I write. Cause
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. It
that's
kind
kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, like I mean, when I was playing in Alaska, I was in a blues band where I got with these guys once a month, and we played at this dumpy bar in Nikiski, Alaska called the Hunger Hut, and I was about 15, 16, 17, 18 at this time, and one of the guys that was in the band was a bass player that graduated from Berkeley. So he graduated with a degree in bass and guitar from Berkeley in Boston. And this guy was amazing. His name is Bob Ramponi. And he told me, he said, just learn songs. Learn them. Learn the melodies. Learn the songs. And with every song that you learn, you're going to become a better guitar player and a better musician. You'll have a better ear.
Yeah.
And so every time somebody comes, that's what Ellen was kind of alluding to this earlier, is when somebody comes up and asks us to play a song, unless we absolutely hate that song,
Or just have never heard it and just
or
don't know
have just
it.
never
Yeah.
heard it, or if it's Luke Combs, then we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot, and happily give it a shot. And we're not afraid to fall on our face, and that's happened. I mean, there's
Yeah.
been a couple times where we've done it and it's been a disaster. But that's kind of how we've built our set list.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
also it's given us an opportunity to learn how to take a song and regurgitate with a full band, and then regurgitate it with integrity, with just a guitar, tambourine, and vocals.
Sure.
How can we make it sound as close to, but also make it authentic to us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how we've built. Right now, we have like 400 songs in our iPad, and we do each one. We feel like we do them pretty well.
Yeah, that's great.
with the exception of like Margaritaville, which we just don't want to play.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
in there. But it's in there.
If you're down here in Florida and you can manage to not play that song, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Our
either.
Margaritaville is a wagon wheel.
Wagon Wheel.
Yeah.
Oh,
I actually
Wagon.
like Wagon Wheel.
Yeah, I don't
man.
mind Max.
Here's the thing: it's a good song.
It is
It
a
is a
good
good
song.
It's a good song. It's
Yeah.
just the most overplayed song on planet Earth.
I know.
Yeah.
But there's-
I know.
I remember when before Darius Rucker did it, when everyone was excited about it, and
Yeah.
it was kind of this indie thing. You remember that? And like it was this cool
no.
kind of,
I didn't know about the song
So
until
Old Crow had
Darius did
this
it.
band
Yeah.
called, so Killbillies I was really into like country punk and that kind of old country stuff.
Was it Old Crow Medicine Show? Or,
And
yes,
Old Crow
yes,
Medicine
yes,
Show
yes.
was just the poster child band for that kind of vibe.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it was when all the swamp punk bands were playing down in Propaganda, and there was this like Americana kind of country like revolution, which I feel was almost built off the back of Oh Brother Where Art Thou almost.
Right.
It's like that movie came out.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, all these people got into country, and Mumford & Sons were in the charts and everything, and
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
man.
just
Yeah,
that
yeah.
period of time is what Killbillies was born out of.
Yeah. You can hear the influence too.
Yeah.
And it's awesome, man. You guys got a great sound, man.
Oh, I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
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 But that's why with Wagon Wheel, I'm like, Even though it's overplayed, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either.
Yeah.
You know what I do hate? Oh,
People ask for it though, man. And
Yeah,
Ben just rolls his eyes like, okay, I'll play.
Yeah.
when we first started playing, because we're a couple, people, and the movie A Star Is Born had just come out.
Yeah.
Shallow.
Yeah.
Shallow. So we were like,
request.
okay,
We're
we'll
like,
learn it
we'll
when
learn
we
it.
first started. So 2019 was the year of Shallow for us. People would come out, get video, leave, and typically we'd listen back and we're like, man, that didn't even sound good.
Yeah.
Like, it's just terrible. People just love that song so much. So this year, 2021, we made a New Year's resolution that we won't take any amount of money to play that song. And every time somebody requests it, we're like, I'm sorry, we can't. You can't. And if that upsets you and you have to leave, I understand, and that's okay. We won't take offense to it, but it's not being played. And you could pay us $1,000. We will not play that song. I'm not kidding.
No.
It's not happening.
No.
Everyone
just
has
not-
their price.
I would sing it for $1,000. I'm just saying.
No way, man.
I mean,
I hate that song,
I
man.
know, I know.
So many other good songs
Yeah.
on that album. Did you know that Jason Isbell wrote Maybe It's Time?
No.
The one that Bradley Cooper sings?
Right.
Jason Isbell wrote that. I mean,
Doesn't surprise me. Now I
yeah,
think about
man. You had some great songs on that album, and then Shallow becomes this huge hit.
it. Yeah.
Get out of here, dude.
I liked all the rest of the songs way better than that one, honestly. Yeah.
yeah.
that was-
This is a musician's podcast, right? So
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the musicians listening to this will understand. If any
Hope
of our
so.
fans or if any of the Sprouts are listening to this, they might get a little mad at us.
I
That's
love
okay,
that.
they can
you
get
name
mad.
your fans.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
Sprouts and Buds.
That's
Sprouts and
adorable.
You know, we found a theme and we stuck with it.
Yeah, we're riding it.
I never got around to asking where the name came from. What was that about?
Okay. Well.
I feel like I'm talking a lot.
Well.
Go ahead.
All right. Well.
Not to put you on the spot.
Well, no, actually, it's a funny story, honestly. So when we were kind of stewing this idea that we were going to do this and figure out how to put everything together, we decided one day to go down to Fort Lauderdale
Right.
and hit every pawn shop on the way up and collect any gear that we could: mic stands, cables,
We had nothing.
microphones.
We only had a
nothing.
$150 pawn shop Fender acoustic guitar
Yep.
Yeah,
that
man.
I had left over. Just like that was all I would pick around on.
Yeah,
That's all we had.
that's
So
it.
we had to build it from scratch.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we took a venture down to Fort Lauderdale, hit all the pawn shops on the way up. I think we found like a mic and a couple, I think some stands, whatever. And we had just hit Boca on the way back up. We're on 95. And all of a sudden, I look at Billy and I was like, well, if we're going to do this, what's the band name going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which we know as being in bands, that is one of the most difficult parts of being in a
Oh,
band.
yeah. I'm in a
is
band
coming
called
up with a
No
name.
Name Scar Band.
Oh,
Because we couldn't,
you're in that band?
Yeah, yeah, because we
Oh
couldn't
my
figure out what to
God.
call it. So we just didn't call it anything.
That is hilarious, man. I
amazing.
love that,
I
man.
love it,
I saw you
yeah.
guys at Kelsey Theater. That was
Yeah,
awesome. That was a
yeah,
good show. Okay.
oh, that's hysterical.
That's cool, man.
That's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah. So yeah.
So we're so I threw that out at him, and we're kind of like we're sitting there and we're like kind of like thinking things over, and we were like, you know, a lot of duos like try to put like their names together, and we were like, that's not going to work. Billy and Ellen, it's like, just like what Billin, like what are we supposed to do with
Bellin?
that? Bellin, something.
Bellin.
Now, mind you, we are also cannabis enthusiasts, so
Hey.
we had
Well, you're in the right one of the right states now.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Getting there.
So we had getting there. We're almost there. So then all of a sudden Billy looks at me and he goes, the Leafy Greens. And we both just started cracking up laughing because it was just so silly. And we were like, okay, like we'll shelf that and we'll think about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So then we get to we ended up stopping at Doghouse Grill that night on our way home, and just to grab a little, because they had little mini hot dogs. So we grabbed like 2 hot dogs each and had a beer, and there was a guy playing. And Billy asked the manager there, he was like,
The
"Who-"
owner.
or the owner.
Kelly.
We found out
Shout
it was the
out
owner.
to Kelly and Shane
Yes.
Powers.
And so Billy asked Kelly, what do you have to do to get a gig here? And she was like, oh, you guys play? We're like, yeah. Now, up until this point, and I'm sure we told her afterwards, we had never played anything together before out. So, but
knew one song.
one song.
We knew one song. And didn't
So-
have any gear.
Nope.
Yeah.
but Billy was like, yeah, we play. Yeah, we're a duo.
Yeah, we're a band.
We're a band. Yeah.
Yeah, we play. What do you got to do to play here, man?
So she was like, all right, what date do you have available? And we were both like,
All of them.
band meeting. Hold on.
I said, you know what? This is a bad idea. I have to go pee. So I
Yeah.
went to the bathroom, came back, and as I'm walking back, I said, Kelly, grab your calendar. Let's do this right now. And this was late November of 2018.
Yeah.
And like November 28th or something like that. So we booked that gig for January 19th, 2019. And this is a 3-hour paid gig for a duo, so you're getting paid duo rates. You better come ready.
Yeah.
We knew 0 songs other than Hallelujah, had no gear, and I was leaving the next day for Nashville for 3 weeks, so I wasn't going to see Ellen again until Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow.
So no, and she had never done this before. She had never played the tambourine. She had never played the shaker. She had never sung rock and roll, only chorus.
You guys were gonna have a
And
month
she had
to pull this off.
debilitating.
And he's and he's out of town for 3 weeks.
And I'm out of town for 3 weeks. So I'm in Nashville for 3 weeks, and I'm like, here's 50 songs that you can learn right now, no problem.
Yeah.
You know, like
they were all
easy
listed
stuff.
out. Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
So we got that done. But getting back to the band name, so we had joked around about that in the car, and we were like, okay, yeah, we'll shelf it.
Yeah.
So then Kelly looks at us and he goes, "So what's the band name?" And we both just look at each other and we go, "The Leafy Greens."
Yeah, there you go.
And then Billy goes, "Wait, Leafy Greens Band."
Now this is really important. I'm glad you said that because I have to. Everyone calls us the Leafy Greens or Leafy Greens or whatever. It's the Leafy Greens Band. Now this is very important because there is another Leafy Greens out there, and it's a female ukulele duo.
Right.
I'm not going to say how I really feel about the music. I'm sure they're whatever. It is what it is. But so when people say the Leafy Greens, they always look them up, and in fact, they've like sent us messages that were supposed to be meant for us. People reaching out to book gigs.
My wife works for a boat rental company. Do we need to take them on a fishing trip for you or something?
We might have to buy their name, man. I don't know, man. So,
But people tag them on Facebook and they're like, "That's not us." So we're like,
so anytime like Vince, would book us at Double Roads, he would put, Leafy Greens. I'd be like, "No, Vince, it's the Leafy Greens Band." So
Yeah,
the
there you
and
go.
band added in.
I had noticed that, and I wondered why. And okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I always start the usually the Wednesday of the podcast in the morning. I'll set up everything in the podcast software so that on Thursday when I get ready to do everything and edit and everything, it's already kind of in the can almost. And so I start putting in notes and stuff, and then I alter the notes accordingly depending on what we all talk about. And I actually did that. I put in the Leafy Greens, or I don't even think I put I would just put like Leafy Greens.
I know.
And somewhere along the way, I caught that it was the Leafy Green Band, Leafy Greens Band.
Yeah.
And so I went back and re-edited everything and
It's
changed
okay,
it all,
man.
changed it all. And I was like, I could see, because
It's okay, man.
I do the opposite with us.
Yeah.
We're just Killbillies, but
Right.
I always write the Killbillies,
Killbillies,
and we're
right.
not the Killbillies.
Right,
We're
right,
just
right, right,
Killbillies.
We
right.
start calling ourselves the Killbillies Band.
"Oh, that's so funny."
I know, man. I mean, we
my
could
God.
have shortened it to just Leafy Greens or
Yeah.
something like that, but
No, I think it sounds good.
yeah,
Thank you.
the Leafy
Yeah,
Greens
yeah.
Band. I mean, Vince likes to say you gotta have a bass and guitar or a bass and drums to have a full band.
That's not true.
And I'm like, no, man, because I'm playing the bass notes on my guitar. She's
There you
playing
go.
percussion with the
Percussion,
tambourine,
yep.
so we have everything.
Yep.
We're a band.
We are a band.
Yeah, we're a band.
Yep.
So, talking of the music that you play, will you play us some of your music right
Yes,
now?
of course.
Absolutely.
Man, of
Yeah,
course.
for
Yeah.
I'd love
sure.
to hear you play.
Here we go. Let's do it.
Let me paint you a picture. 6,000 miles on a windy road. 2-lane highway to Nashville, Tennessee. How can southbound we vow to find a home? That old 89 blue Chevy van could not pass 55. Just enough food packed to last a week. We're lucky to be alive. We'll get there when we get there, he kept saying. That old Atlas had never let him down. We'll get there when we get there, I'm just saying. Old plans lost, new dreams to be found. Twice a week on a road to Miami. Movie star is who she dreamed to be. Met that broken boy, fell hard as an old oak. That broken boy fell hard and bent the knee. He played that old guitar as she sang him a tune. Rode long and hard, now they have the stars and moon. We'll get there when we get there, he kept saying. That old Atlas had never let him down. We'll get there when we get there, I'm just saying. Old plans lost, new dreams to be found. He plays that old guitar as she sings him a tune. Roll long and hard, now they have the stars and moon. We'll get there when we get there, he kept saying. That old Atlas had never let him down. We'll get there when we get there, I'm just saying. Old plans lost, new dreams to be found. Old plans lost, new dreams to be found.
Thank you.
All right.
Keep my head up, hope for better days. Remember roads we're showing past the taste. This crazy world we search for light. Feeling lost until you look into my eyes. So say you'll stay by my side until the end. Through thick and thin, 'cause I can't bear to see it end. I don't want to say goodbye. Been through too much to let this die. Fight back these tears coming up. I'm too tired now to let them out. So say you'll stay by my side until the end. Through thick and thin, 'cause I can't bear to see it end. Oh, until the end. Oh, until the end. Thick and thin, 'cause I can't bear to see it end. No, I'll always come back to you. My heart is yours, I know, see it through. Take my hand and say you'll stay by my side until the end. Through thick and thin, 'cause I can't bear to see it end. Through thick and thin, my love for you will never end. Through thick and thin, my love for you will never end.
So we don't have a sponsor this week, so I figured why don't we just take the opportunity to plug ourselves.
Works for me.
So
Works for me. I'm 6'4". I like long walks on the beach. And oh wait, not that. Sorry.
So Killbillies have got a single out. It's called "Promised Dream," and Yeah, if you can find it on YouTube. We made a video of it, or it's on all of the streaming services. It's
Ben got to drive a badass car in the video. I was so jealous, so jealous.
This cool rat rod thing, yeah. So check that out. And we've also just recorded a live album, and that's going to be appearing on streaming services very soon. It's called Live Warts and All. So keep your eyes out for that. And also. We're at this wonderful facility called Live Music Community. Do you want us to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, Live Music Community has been around for a number of years, I believe. Justin just said it was 7-ish, 8-ish years, something like that. They were in Jupiter. They are now in Palm Beach Gardens here at this facility, Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It is absolutely amazing here. Both my kids actually came here for a while, and now just my son. But they take lessons and they really step it up to the next level. It's not just let me teach your kid, or an adult for that matter, but mostly the kids. It's not let me just teach them this instrument or whatever. Justin and his whole group of teachers here, which they take this whole experience and this whole approach of teaching the kids the music, and then placing them with kids that have similar interests and similar levels of where they are at musically and ability wise, and then they form bands.
Oh my God!
And so like my son comes here. He's in 2 bands right now. So my son comes here for his lessons once a week, but then he comes here twice a week on top of that for his 2 bands, and each band is like a 2-hour practice with the band.
Yeah.
So he's got a band on Wednesdays and a band on Sundays, and then with COVID, he kind of shifted things, and they were doing a lot of live stream stuff, which they're still going to do, but they're actually getting ready to do their first live show since prior to COVID, but that was something he used to do a lot, and so this is more of a showcase show. So he's going to have, I believe, 5 or 6 different bands that are going to be playing, and they're going to be playing at the Black Box Theater, which is formerly the Kelsey Theater, on May 2nd, I believe. It's a Sunday.
Man.
Yeah. It's
on a Sunday? Aren't we off that Sunday?
It's a Sunday.
The 2nd, you said?
Sunday the 2nd, yeah. Check it out.
I got tickets if you'd like.
Yeah, man. I mean, really, that'd be cool to see.
But yeah, it's just amazing because I got to tell you, my son's been coming here since since he was like 10. He's about to turn 18 in November, and he's learned to play drums. He's a phenomenal drummer, and I'm not just saying it because he's my son.
Yeah.
He really is just a phenomenal drummer. He's learned to play drums, but he's learned to be in a band with bandmates, and the compromises and challenges that come from being in a band with other people and having to make these these decisions together. He's learned a lot of etiquette stuff on how to act towards his bandmates and how to act towards other bands. I see stuff on Facebook sometimes. It's kind of atrocious when one band is talking about another band or whatever. Yeah. And he's learned the do's and don'ts of all that. So, and he's learned about what to do in a situation. There was this running joke for a while where Justin would come into a band practice and the kids are playing or something, and he'd just walk up and shut somebody's amp off or something when they're not looking, and the kid panics. And the beautiful thing is that he does that so that they learn from these experiences. So when they're on stage, something's gonna happen.
Right.
It happens to all of us.
Oh, yeah.
And something's gonna happen, and all of a sudden something craps out or something's not working or somebody kicked a cable out or whatever. These kids are like pros, man. Yeah. They don't panic. They don't whatever. Right. They go, oh yeah, it's my cable. Oh, it's my pedal. It's my whatever. And they roll with it. And it's amazing to watch these kids. What he does with these kids here is just ridiculous.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
amazing. I would have loved something like that when I was a kid because we had to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? Like actually making those mistakes in front of people.
Well, and then just having this facility at their disposal. I mean, he does the live streams here. He does full track recordings. I mean, there's kids that have graduated the program, that have aged out or whatever and gone off college, et cetera, that have now come back and are recording albums here with their current bands and stuff because he's got all of that at their disposal. Yeah, it's a great facility. So Live Music Community is the name of the place. LiveMusicCommunity.com is where you can find all the information for those listening, for those watching. If you haven't been here and you'd like to check out the facility, there is a 3D walkthrough tour on the website that you can click through and pretty much see all the rooms and see everything that's in here and check it all out. So
I come and work here in July as a teacher, so. if you
The bonus plan.
Yeah, if you want me as a teacher, come to Live Music Community as of July. And even if you don't want me as a teacher, there's plenty of other fantastic teachers.
Absolutely.
Including Justin himself. So, all right, let's get to. Could you explain us a little bit about how you name your songs and what the two songs you just played were about?
So all of our songs are called a song about something. And we did that because we really didn't have a name for any of them at the beginning. So we were just like, okay, this is a song about hope. This is a song about, well, and then actually, you know what? No, the second song we wrote, actually, we really looked into it because when we put out a song about hope, we kind of got some like backlash about like, you can't just name your song a song about something. You have to give it a name. And we were like, well.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
Well, just because you said that, now we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
It's
So
going to be
even
exactly
for-
what it is.
Yeah. So even for our second song, we put it out on YouTube, and it was a song about redolence.
Right.
And
I don't even know what that means.
I had to look that up in the dictionary.
yes, that was the goal.
I still don't know.
Yeah, it's when the smell of something reminds you of somebody or something.
Oh.
Redolence. That smell reminds me of my childhood or whatever.
Yeah.
So and in the hook of the song is
Your love soothes like the smell of rain.
soothes like the
lovely.
smell of
So-
rain. You
so
know, because
we-
the rain had
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we had to look up that word too. We didn't know. We were like typing in word for what
Yeah.
a smell reminds you of, and that came up, and we were like, all right, perfect. So I mean, yeah, that worked out that way. So yeah, and
I love that.
That's
I love
really
that.
fun.
So the song. So the first song that we did was a song about faith. We just wrote that a couple months ago, and that song, if you just listen to the lyrics, it's all true, and that's how I ventured from Alaska down to Florida.
Yeah.
And
Nashville.
by way of Nashville.
Hiking, right? With the,
Well,
the
I mean,
whole way.
in the van.
Back-
It was in the van.
backpacking with a guitar on your back, and
mean,
you
dude,
know, I have this
I
whole
had-
visual, man.
I had it all in there,
don't,
man.
don't kill it for me.
Hey, this
You guys are such romantic figures in my eyes. I had no idea.
Seriously.
It's so
I
badass.
was 21 years old, bought a 1989 Chevy 20 van about 10 days before I moved to Nashville. And I drove from Soldotna, Alaska, October of 2003. I drove from Soldotna, Alaska to Nashville, Tennessee in a 1989 Chevy 20 van that had about 250,000 miles on it. It wouldn't go over 55 miles an hour. I mean,
Yeah.
it took me 4 days just to get through Canada, but that's what got me to Nashville. And then when I met Ellen, she was traveling back and forth to and from Miami for auditions because she was wanting to get into acting.
Right.
And you know, so it's kind of like how we met,
Yeah.
and that's, you know, when we started playing music. So the song is called A Song About Faith. That first one is called A Song About Faith, and it's
And that's
just
kind of, I mean, like it kind of encompasses that, like we each had different plans to begin with, and then we ended up meeting, and then even though those plans fell through, it ended up working out in the long run anyway. So
like we'll
yeah.
get there when we get there. You know, just have faith; it'll work out,
Yeah.
and it always does work out. You know.
Tell us about your pedal board.
Oh man, this is like a dream come true to talk about gear here. All right, so I'm looking to see what I have here. So on the left there, you see an RC30 looper pedal, Boss looper pedal. I have really bad carpal tunnel, so if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to play. That little Aurora thing in the middle, that's my reverb pedal. I love that thing. It gives the guitar a good boost. That DD 200 Boss delay pedal right there, that's a really fun pedal. I mean,
want one
it's
of
just the 5 presets on there. I use those. Like, I use all 5 of them, and they're fantastic.
Ben's hoping I give him one for Christmas.
Oh man, it's a really,
worth it.
really worth it, man. I had the digital delay, DD whatever too,
Right.
and
I've had a DD3.
yeah,
and
I think that's what I
yeah.
had, and it just wasn't. This thing rocks, man.
Yeah.
Tube screamer, distortion
Yeah.
turned all the way down just to have a little boost,
Yeah.
and then that box, that DI box, the para acoustic DI box is the most important piece of gear that I have on that board because, man, you can dial the guitar in. I actually got this referred to me by our friend Travis.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're having feedback in D, you can
Yeah.
turn the D channel down, I guess,
Yeah.
or G or A.
Yeah, you can
you know,
cut out
because
little
each
notches
room,
for sure. Yeah.
each room has has like a specific like feedback, I guess.
Yeah.
And my friend Travis told me about this. I had no idea you can notch down a key like that.
Yeah,
And,
it's so helpful.
It's amazing, man.
In fact,
Yeah.
you know, we could use that over our whole mix. I've been thinking about just getting a big parametric EQ to put after our board.
Yeah.
It's so helpful.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's so cool to have it on the. I'm also an acoustic guy, and my pedal board looks pretty similar to yours actually. You've got delay on there, got tube screamer on there, and instead of the LR bags, I have a Fishman DI, but I used to have an LR bags DI, and I wish I still did. 'Cause it was better.
Yeah, man. It's just I love that pedal, man. And Ellen's got a pretty badass tambourine too. So I don't that tambourine that she has. I mean, where did we buy that down in?
Got that at Music Man down in West Palm, or right, just oh my God, what's it called? Northwood. Right by Northwood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody has tambourines.
No.
Guitar Center, not good tambourines,
Right.
man.
No.
We have spent probably $1,000 on tambourines because all of the ones that she would buy that's like a Meinl or traditional percussion
LP, yeah.
they
Oh, yeah.
break within like 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
because she plays them so hard. Like they just cymbals will just go flying out into the audience and hit people and stuff like that.
The
So
nails
she-
will come out, and
Yeah.
I'm not
and so
kidding.
she bought this one at
Music Man.
Music Man, and it is it's
We've
It
had it
sounds
now for
good.
about
I've
4
got to
months.
say, I was
Yeah.
listening to it. It does sound a notch above your average bear.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds
Definitely,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Got a big pop.
They got a good selection down there too. If
Yeah.
anybody's looking for some tambourines.
I have bought like 3 tenor saxes from there. One of them I lost. One of them was stolen. And now I'm on the 3rd. Not a thing that's meant to be disposable, a tenor saxophone.
dude, who steals a sax?
Oh my God!
Was this stolen after a gig?
Out of my car. I just left it outside my in-laws' house
Yeah.
where they live in a gated community. I didn't lock the car. I just wasn't thinking about it. Someone stole it.
I keep hearing of instruments getting stolen out of cars, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it to
Adonis
happen.
Guava had his pedal board stolen not that long ago. Yeah. Guavatron. Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks,
People getting
man.
their stuff stolen, man. It
I know,
sucks.
man. I know.
It's terrible.
So, do you have a writing process when you come to like write a song? Is there any way that you guys like approach that?
I feel like it's kind of been different with each song that we've written, honestly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, typically, like, a melody or words will come up, that make it's kind of just like what everybody else says. It's the same thing. I heard what Sierra said. I heard, it's the same thing. It comes to you when it comes to you, but we try to make it a priority, every week to generate something, whether it be a melody, a lick, a riff, whatever.
Yeah.
And then,
My composition teacher said, even if it's just one tiny thing, try and write one thing every day.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've kept that to heart. I've just constantly my notes on my phone
Yeah,
is just
me
packed
too.
full of weird ideas. Like,
Yeah. The voice notes,
Yeah.
full of ideas, and then like that, the song about faith, that little lick was something I did on a guitar like 2 years ago. Dun 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 dun. That little walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we wrote that song, the lyrics came first. No melody, no nothing. It was just lyrics. And then I found that lick. We put the melody to that lick, put those lyrics to that lick, and that was kind of it just worked out.
In that 2020 song that you wrote, is it called A Song About 2020?
Yeah, a song about 20.
That's
That's our tribute.
I really liked the guitar style in it. It was very folky and it reminded me a lot of some of my favorite players. Is there anything that you were kind of emulating with that, or did it just kind of come up
Just
here
came
in the
out.
dome?
It just came out, man. I mean,
Yeah.
what that was after a gig one night. We like to go out to our breezeway and wind down with our cats. And because we live in an apartment complex, we're on the 3rd floor, and we have a long breezeway right outside our apartment. And so at night, after a gig, it'll be around 12 midnight, 1 o'clock, and we'll walk out in the breezeway and just start jamming really lightly because it's super loud and the neighbors can hear. So we just sit there and we just kind of play, hum some melodies, and then all of a sudden this little lick, this little bouncy lick came,
cool.
and
Bouncy and it's kind of folky in this cool way too.
yeah, and that lick and then the tempo change to the other lick, it was like it just came together. It just fit together. I was like, we gotta, And then we were in the midst of 2020 and all the crap that was happening with 2020. I was like, this is kind of how that song. That's kind of the song. Just kind of flows with how the year has gone. It's fast, it's slow, it's crazy, whatever. Yeah. And so we just put our 2020 lyrics to it.
Yeah.
You know.
And then the hook, I mean, the chorus kind of just came to us too. It was just kind of like losing sight again, and then losing our minds again. Just kind of like came to us, and then we wrote a story basically around that.
Yeah.
It was a good one. We've got a song that references 2020, but it's not 100% about it. But I think any writer worth their salt has at least taken a bit of a stab at it.
Yeah.
I know a friend of mine, Scott Gaylor, he refused to bring anything out in 2020 because he didn't want it to be like marred with the brush of being a 2020 album.
Yeah,
So he literally just sat the year out.
I get that. I get that. You know, and we were going to release that with the album, but you know, we thought that releasing it in 2020, we released it New Year's Eve. It came out at midnight from 2020 to 2021. It hit Spotify at that time, and it wasn't even mastered. We were just like, let's just put it out, put something on Spotify, and we'll, that way, whatever, it's there.
It's a great song.
And so once it gets mastered, I'm curious to hear how it sounds after it's mastered.
Yeah.
And sitting in the album somewhere,
You have someone lined up for mastering. Have you got that far yet?
We're looking at somebody that Abby Owens recommended to us.
Great, yeah.
Out of Atlanta.
I'm trying to get her on here. So if you got it,
good luck getting a hold of her. She's tough to get a hold of, man.
Tell me
we
about
love her,
it.
man. We love her, but man, she's.
man.
But I guarantee she's amazing, and I guarantee she gets inundated with texts and emails.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and hard for her to field everything there by herself. But she's amazing, man.
The rhythms she gets going.
I know.
Yeah.
And her
Crazy.
voice, I know. She's something
So
else.
talented.
She's something else, man. A lot of fire.
Yeah.
A lot of fire. You can tell, man. She's
That energy, like
I know.
that you just can't. It's that X factor that some people have when they play, and it's like someone wrote like the wind changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it really does kind of feel like that with Abby. I don't know what it is as a
Yeah.
vibe. Yeah, she got something going on there for sure.
Really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's
And
cool.
That brings me to the last question that I have, which is there anyone round here that you particularly like musically?
Oh man. Yeah. Well,
What-
Kill
yeah.
Billies.
Yeah.
Kill I mean, we came down to Brick and watched you guys play. I mean,
We love watching you guys
really,
perform.
man.
You
You
guys
guys
are
are
so
fantastic,
talented,
man.
so
News
fun.
from Breeze, another band that we love.
Yeah.
Balatovas is another band that we love. Abby Owens is freaking incredible.
Yeah.
We love Vince. I love watching Vince play the harmonica with his blues bands and all that. I know Schofield's in the area. He's an amazing guy, a blues guy to watch.
Walden, too.
Oh, Jake Walden.
Yeah.
He's strong.
Yep.
I
know there's
yeah,
more,
I mean,
I'm
and there's
blanking.
more, but those are the ones that stand out, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think
Just you doing the guitar, sax, and everything that you're doing up there, and you play the saxophone really well. You remind me of shoot, all the guys from News from Bree, really, because they all play instruments really well, like Adam.
there is
those
a lot
guys are
in common.
ridiculous, man.
I feel like the Newsom Bree and Killbillies need to do like a
Oh my
night,
God.
like a two bands. Maybe all three of us could do it. Maybe
You
we
guys
should do
should
that.
collaborate, dude, and do a full thing, man. Are you kidding me? That would be amazing,
That would
and
be
we would
amazing.
love to accompany.
Adam's a friend,
Yeah.
and I got to know him through going over to Jupiter Music a million times, and then laughing at his many jokes online, and I have mentioned it in the past actually that we should play a gig together. That'd be fun. I feel like all of these bands like us that do these 3-hour gigs should get on bills together more often.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really.
Because we're all doing our own thing in all these different places. And I know it's like, probably be a pay cut and stuff like that, but I think it'd be a lot of fun.
It would be a lot of fun,
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah, that would be a lot
Anytime
of
you
fun.
want to do that,
Yeah.
we'll absolutely do that with you guys, man.
Yeah, man.
I mean, we'll look at each other's schedules, see what gigs you guys have coming up. We'll look at our gigs, invite you in if there's an opening that you guys have. Maybe we can collaborate on, do a set or two together,
Yeah. Part of my sort of desire with this podcast as well is for us all to feel a little bit like more of a scene,
Mm-hmm.
like because we are one already. It is a scene. I mean, there is a scene down here, and anything I can do to make it stronger,
Yeah.
Again, I think that us all playing gigs together would just be a blast.
Absolutely.
Like it's something that happens with those with show bands. Like No Name Scar Band, the band I'm in. We only play on bills with other bands.
Right.
It's that kind of band. But us kind of 3-hour type of bands, we don't do it enough, in my opinion. We don't get to share that kind of, share ideas and have the crowd, who like all the bands, all come out at the same time.
Right.
I think it'd be a cool thing to do.
We actually did that with Balatovis in 2019. Are you guys familiar with Aliana and Elaine? Balatovis?
I'm not. I don't
I'm
know.
not.
Oh my God, they're fantastic.
check 'em out.
Aliana, her voice is amazing. Elaine plays.
Are they busy around here?
Yeah, they play. They're a duo, and they play. They play all over. Really, man, they're fantastic. I mean, they could be absolutely full time if they wanted to be, but I think they work full. I think they both work jobs as well, so it's tough. But we did a show at Brewhouse Gallery. The last show that we did at Brewhouse Gallery, we collaborated with them, and they did a set, then we did a collaborative set, and of 4 songs together that we learned together and really mastered, honed in the harmonies, big harmonies and stuff like that. And man, it was unbelievable. And it was packed because we really pushed the show too.
Yeah.
And we paid them what half of what we made that night, and so it was totally fine to share the earnings because it was such a magical night, man.
So much fun.
I mean, the funny thing is, it's not like I'm suggesting anything that hasn't been done before. In fact, quite the opposite. But but with our kind of bands, it is quite rare.
Yeah.
It's like 100% commonplace with other bands, but for us guys, we don't do it enough, and I think we should get on that one. Spread the Dub and Sons of a Tradesman have been playing shows
those
together.
guys are great.
That's a power.
That's
Dude,
a power.
Andrew
That's a
Alonso,
power
I
team.
love that guy.
Yeah,
man.
right.
Oh, Mike Guido, I love those guys.
Yeah, they're freaking
That's
awesome.
another band.
Yep.
I can't believe we left them
I
out.
know.
Sorry, Andrew. I feel like I'm looking up. I'm not looking at anything.
Sorry, Andrew.
Sorry, Andrew. We love
There you go.
That guy's so funny, man. His videos kill me, dude. He's
Oh
so
my God,
funny.
it
he's
cracks me up.
hilarious.
Great. We're going to have that. They're coming on.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, we're
good,
good.
good.
Oh,
Ben,
excited
Ben and
to
I
listen
were
to that
joking around when we first started the podcast. The possibilities of with us getting all the different musicians and stuff on here, just all the possibilities of the podcast. What it can grow into, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things we had tossed around was at some point doing a 561 Music Festival and having all the musicians that have been through here all play, like a set or whatever. We had talked about doing that. We talked about even a 561 Music tour. We were
getting a little bit excited.
But that
about
was
it,
a little
wasn't it?
that was a little crazy, I think.
Well, we might get there eventually. You never know.
But I think the festival is doable. I mean, you got with the Meyer Amphitheater down here,
Yes.
and stuff. Like
Absolutely.
it's totally doable.
Absolutely, man. That'd be amazing.
So anybody who wants to sponsor a 561 Music Festival, we're here. We're ready.
That would be amazing.
We're in. Count us in.
Yep,
We'll
we're
play
in.
it.
Yep.
We'll play it.
Cool.
So,
us in there.
balls on here.
We usually close this out by talking about the shows that are coming up this weekend. Do you want to take over that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the Leafy Greens Band, not to be confused with the Leafy Greens,
That's right.
is playing Friday at 6 p.m. at Twisted Trunk Brewing.
Is that where we're playing?
Yeah.
All right.
Where's that at?
That's on PGA Boulevard.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Close
cool.
to US 1.
Yeah,
right?
just east of the bridge.
And then
Yeah. Yep.
Sunday at Coastal Karma at 3 p.m.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so
one
those
too.
would be
Two
good.
ones, yeah.
And then, of course, we always plug Killbillies. Friday, Taco Tiki at Jensen Beach, 7 p.m. Patty Mac's, 8 p.m. on Saturday. And Sunday, Swank Farms. I believe that's 5.
Have you
I'm
ever
not
played
sure.
out at Swank Farms and Specialty Produce in Loxahatchee?
No.
That's something you got to look into. I'll
would be
give.
a great fit
I'll
for
speak
that.
to Jody, the lady who books there, on behalf of you guys, because you'd fit in there like a glove.
Perfect,
It's,
man.
it's this big farm, and you play in this huge barn to a bunch of tables, and you're on this stage that's like 9 feet in the air.
I love
on this
it.
Yeah.
huge
That's
stage.
awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Right at the beginning of the dinner, you go to where everyone comes in and kind of play acoustically. And once everyone's kind of walked past you, you get your stuff up and you go up onto this stage, and then you just play from the stage for the rest of the night. But it's so cool because it's so like country. It's the countryest thing ever. It's in the country, and you're
It's
in this
fun.
big barn, and
Yeah, it's really
yeah,
fun.
it's a
Dude,
blast.
we would love to
Tons
play
of-
that.
Tons
man.
of people.
Absolutely,
The only
man.
downside is that you're playing the whole time.
Yeah.
And while you're playing, they're serving like this unbelievably good
Oh,
food,
no.
and the waft of like the
Oh,
just
no.
the smell of the food comes up to the stage, and you're like
so
drooling on
hungry.
yourself while you're playing. And I'm like,
They
sucks.
usually slow roast some incredibly
right in
enormous,
front
beautiful
of us,
piece of
right
meat.
below us, basically.
Yeah, like
Oh.
slow fire roast a piece
Yeah,
of meat.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
But
I don't know if we
it
should
is
take
an
that.
amazing place. It is an amazing place.
Yeah, so next week our guest is Tyler Giddens, and Tyler Giddens is in Unified Mind and Vibes Farm.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good old friend of mine. We helped record an EP for those guys back in the day. He's a fantastic guitarist. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen Unified Mind or Vibes Farm.
No.
They're it's reggae and rock and that kind of Florida reggae rock stuff.
Yeah.
But his guitar playing is not even a joke. Like he's really a serious guitar player, like proper shredder. So
That's awesome.
great musician. Yeah, and if you haven't heard, you should check those guys out.
Yeah,
They've got some tunes. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, cool.
All right. Well, I guess that's us. That wraps up the 5th episode. Thanks a lot, Leafy Greens
man.
Band. Thanks for coming.
thanks
in.
for having us,
Thank you for
guys. We
having us.
appreciate
Yes.
you guys.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
So much fun.
For our listeners, make sure to check us out 561music.com. You can stream all the episodes from there. You can go to all our social media spots from there. All the show notes will be in all of our links, and all of the Leafy Green Band links will be in the show notes. All your social media and your YouTube and all that stuff. I put all that in there for you guys. And then if you guys are watching on YouTube, all the links are in the description. And just one more thing, do not forget that we have the 561 Music playlist on Spotify. And basically, we've created this playlist with all local musicians, everybody that's been on the podcast, everybody that's going to be on the podcast, and way more than that.
Yeah.
It's all I ever listen to anymore, and it's pretty amazing to realize how much good music is coming out of this area. So
Yeah, and I'm gonna start making some kind of offshoot ones because I made a post about it on Facebook the other day and got just inundated with local hip hop. So I'm going to do a straight up 561 Music hip hop playlist and a couple of other ones, just because I think it'd be a nice thing to be able to listen to.
Yeah.
But just the main one with all of the different styles on is I think it's probably the most fun because you get to hear the diversity of the music.
absolutely,
down here.
oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think that's it. And thank you guys very much for coming out. I mean, this
Thank
was
you
a
guys.
blast.
Yeah,
We
it
love
was a
having
blast.
Thank you guys
Thank
for
you
having
guys.
us.
Appreciate you guys,
Thank you.
man. Thank you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Cheers. All right.
Everybody sings, it's what we're doing.